right, we're back. No fancy music to come back on. I just want to get back on the air and get back to this clip. So here we go.
And they've developed it for medical applications. That pill has been CE stamped and cleared by the FDA.
Does Google now know everything I do and everywhere I go? Because, let's face it.
Alan West warns Obama backdoor gun control is moving forward. Don't run less. Primary leader smeltering in the United States has been. This is all about the environment. Go in and come on, talk more.
Bitcoin.
Oh.
To try and answer.
Sorry, that was me.
If you have never heard of Bitcoin, you are probably not alone, but the online currency is gaining popularity around the world, and now in eastern Kentucky. WINT's Brittany Nada looked into the cyber money to try and answer some questions about how it works.
City commissioners in Vico recently passed a measure to pay its police chief in Bitcoin.
This is virtual money, people. Okay, this is where things are going. Now keep in mind we haven't been on the gold standard in a very long time. So your actual paper money, really, it's not backed by anything. And your government keeps printing more and more and more and more and more with no backing.
May be a forward-thinking movement, but many of you probably do not understand how it works.
Bitcoin is a new currency traded against the dollar, yen, euro, and every other currency around the world.
Against it. Against it. Remember that. Traded against the dollar.
Israel is ready for historic peace, and it's a peace based on 2 states for 2 people. It's a peace that Israel can and must be able to defend itself by itself with our own forces against any foreseeable threat.
In the days and weeks ahead, we will consult very closely and continually with our Israeli friends in order to bring about a comprehensive agreement that can withstand everybody's test.
FBI is rolling out a $1 billion facial recognition system. This high-tech program has been undergoing testing since February. It compiles mug shots, iris scans, and more, and is finally said to be ready for launch.
You know, the FBI is now revealing its next generation, if you will, effort to weed out the bad guys. As you mentioned, $1 billion. They've put it to the test so far in several states since February. Now, the system works in 2 ways. It can compare an image to the FBI's massive database of mugshots to pinpoint criminals. It can also track suspects in surveillance footage by honing in on their faces in a crowd. There are those opposed to the idea, though, such as Democratic Senator Al Franken, who suggests the database raises serious privacy issues. Several public advocates are also wary of the project, fearing it will eventually extend beyond criminals to include images of the innocent. It is nationally implemented by the year 2014, John. So they may be looking at you.
Let's hope not.
A new crime-fighting tool is so big, some might call it a tank.
I think they are. Now, it's really called an MRAP. I checked on that. And tonight, these massive military vehicles are in the hands of 4 mid-state police agencies. A handful of police departments are now getting them free of charge to protect their officers. Hendersonville SWAT team already has 2 Humvees. The problem is they're not armored. The MRAP gives them that much-needed protection. We plan to paint it black, just the same as our other tactical vehicles, and put police markings on it, and that's probably all we're going to do.
Okay, so now this is your local police force. I want you to keep in mind, I don't know how many of you have driven by Hernando County Sheriff's lately, but they've got quite an extensive amount of equipment out there, and that's just what you see. You got to remember, I'm sure they have some place where they park things that you can't see. So it makes you wonder, what do they need that for? Are they planning something? Is the government planning a takeover? Does anybody else have these questions? Am I the only one?
Sir, I want to talk to you.
Stay right there. Back up. We're driving across this line to be under arrest.
was, Amy, a reporter being arrested by police who were dressed like stormtroopers out of a Steven Spielberg movie.
Now pay attention to this, people, because this is a reporter, and if anybody who thinks that just because they're with the press, they're exempt from police brutality, and you're wrong. You're very wrong.
What was your experience? What were your thoughts? And how do you think that we got here from 20, 30 years ago when this kind of thing was pretty much unheard of?
You have these police officers going after thousands of peaceful protesters, eviscerating the encampments, tear gassing, pepper spraying, beating people in the streets, and this all has to be reimagined. I mean, police have to be challenged. There are many good cops who don't feel that that's their role, and it's our job in the media to cover them.
I think so, and Matthew, I'm curious. In the minute we have left, at what point in time did America start militarizing our police, and why?
Well, I don't think there's going to be anyone who can point to a specific minute, but I think a lot of it has to do with the
time the Dirty Harry movies.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we started waging this crazy war on drugs that encourages the militarization of police.
I don't know about the rest of you, but the situation is getting out of hand. We the people, united, we stand up, we rise, and please make no mistake, I am not ensuing a violent situation to this. No, that's not what I want. I don't want violence. But I do want justice, and I do want my freedom. I can't stress it enough. Now, I got one more clip, and I know it's probably boring. You're listening to all of this, but listen. What I'm trying to do is educate people, okay? And if you're not willing to listen, then you're not willing to do something about your own freedoms, and that's it. Now, if that's the case, and then you want to continue being cattle or sheep, property of the government, instead of the government being property of us. All right. So this clip is called "War Declared on U.S. Government by Militias," but is being censored out of the mainstream media.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me. It's January the 9th, 2012. Very important video, so I want you to stay with me here for a moment. I'm going to put a link below in the description box. I always provide you with a link to a website I think you're going to find very much informative and of a great deal of interest to you, the people. As your watchman on the wall, I spend a great deal of time searching various news articles, mostly alternative news, to find out what's going on really in the world. Mainstream media tries to they cover a lot up and they sweep it under the rug. So I look elsewhere, alternative news sources, to see what's really going on in the world. It doesn't seem like a whole lot is happening in 2012 compared to how 2011 started off. I brought you the story about 2012, the birds again, red-winged blackbirds fell out of the sky. But, I see reports going around, and I think a lot of heat, but that was 5,000 just like last year, and I have confirmed from my information, the information that I'm getting, it was 400 was the total tally. And then we have the story of the 20 tons of fish washing ashore. I brought you that story in Norway, and the very next day they were gone. Now, in the picture, in the article that and everyone's seen it, there's a dog standing in the middle of all these live in Norway, we don't know what really took place there. And with that said, I've been looking all weekend, and there's really not a whole lot going on. I looked this morning, and I think fellow watchman on the wall, my main source for news, single dad living for Jesus, I think he may, I don't know, I haven't talked to him. He may be scratching his head too. He's given me a few stories to bring you today.
We're going to change it up. That guy was a little bit putting me to sleep.
Greetings, fellow Americans. My name is David Robertson, and this is another edition of An American Warning. Today's episode goes out primarily to military and law enforcement personnel. During Katrina, one of the things that happened in the aftermath was law enforcement going door to door trying to confiscate firearms. Now, military was involved a little bit as well, but they were there to retrieve firearms from law-abiding citizens. In fact, if you look on some of my blogs, you'll notice some videos of, in fact, it was an NRA video that talked about and showed an old lady, more or less, just getting pummeled because of her revolver. Now, something a lot of people don't realize, too, during many natural disasters, in fact, Greensburg, Kansas, when that happened, it wiped out the whole town. One of the first agencies on the scene was the ATF. Now, for military and law enforcement personnel, something that I want to say is that you took that job, and I say job, okay? It is a job, okay? Now, granted, there is a level of authority that the American people grant you, okay? But in the end, it is a job. And you took that job, I would hope, to try and make a difference, okay? To protect your country, to protect your community, to help people out. When it comes to firearms, we have to ask ourselves, who are legitimate gun owners? Okay, a lot of them are hunters. But when you really boil it down, a lot of the people who really subscribe to having a firearm are usually former law enforcement, children of military personnel, no matter what age. I mean, I'm a child of military and law enforcement. I come from a family of military and law enforcement, and it's a big, big family. Okay. Which is probably why I never really thought about this before. But and then, of course, you have to throw into the mix former military altogether. Now, I want to read this to you guys, okay? Military and law enforcement. This right here is the oath for the enlisted soldier. I do solemnly swear that I will...
Now, I want everybody to listen to this because, to me, this is big time.
Will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to the regulations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Now, the first part is the very, very, very important part. Okay, that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Okay, so that has to go with that's just common sense. I mean, we're going to go ahead and stop it there, folks. I don't want to bore you too much longer with this kind of stuff, but I hope everybody got my point, and I pull this off here. I hope everybody understands, what I'm trying to tell them. It's basically, it boils down to the decisions that we make as the people of this country. If we continue to let our government institutions and let our local institutions trample our rights, then pretty soon we won't have any rights to defend because they'll have taken them all from us. And I will not let that happen to me. I will not let them trample my God-given rights. the rights that so many have fought and died for. So I don't know about you folks, but I think it's time for the new American Revolution. And when I say revolution, again, let me clarify that I don't mean we're going to start flipping police cars over and bombing things and killing people. No. There is a peaceful solution. After all, this is the most powerful and greatest country in the world. And remember, folks, what makes this country the most powerful country and the greatest country in the world is you. It's citizens. Okay? The citizens of the United States are the ones that make this country great. If we do not protect this country, the government is just going to keep taking this country from us. Anyway, I guess I've been ranting and raving long enough about our government. Let's talk about this Justin Bieber guy. I'm glad that he went back to his own country and got arrested. I think he should answer for his mistakes here and be treated like anybody else. Watched a little piece about Miley Cyrus and what the hell's her name? She's so insignificant I don't remember her name anymore. Madonna. Who cares, man? Isn't Madonna like 96 years old already? I mean, holy Jesus. And my opinion on that is she keeps coming back and latching onto these other stars just to get a little fame and fortune for herself, because who knows? It's probably expensive over there where she lives. Well, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. We ran the show way long tonight, and I do appreciate everybody that is listening. I'm going to make some big changes to the way the show is done. So hopefully by the time the Talk Shit TV show airs, we'll have the green screen and everything prepared, and we'll be able to put up some really cool graphics and do some really neat things and show you guys a good show. And once again, I thank you for joining me. This is your host, Louis Kennedy, and appreciate it. This is Talk Shit Radio.